Hello there. The third episode of The Last of Us dropped yesterday, and oh boy, it was the best episode so far, I think. So, let me begin commenting on it scene by scene. This time around, we do not have an opening scene that alludes to the beginning part of the apocalypse. However, the whole episode is like an allusion to the both the beginning and a procession of the apocalypse. Well, for this scene, I don't have much to say, but I will just repeat my previous comments about kind of Ellie. I will not elaborate on them. But like this Ellie is a different one than the one we have in the game. This, I mean, in I I do not arrive at that conclusion simply from this scene, but in this episode there is another one which is more dramatic and like we will talk about that when we come there. The Joel in this series is a little bit more immature than the one in the game, I guess. If I remember correctly, he in the video game he does not like blame Tess's death on Ellie. Uh, like what makes these characters interesting is their like acceptance of this world. I think they're like kind of the dark. Like dark rules feels inaccurate, but like they are the dark rules of this world is ingrained within them. They know that uh, slim you do not get to hold on to things like you will lose, you will lose again, and then again. I think they are in peace. Like I wouldn't say in peace, but they are aware of that, so they do not like blame someone's death on each other, etc. At least the protagonists of this series, but this is my subjective opinion. We see Joel and Ellie like get a little bit closer, but this is not the episode for that to like thoroughly happen. However, after this episode, they should start getting closer. They will meet Sam. I forgot the name of the brother. They will meet these brothers, and uh, after that event, oh my god, what's wrong with my voice? After that event, Joel will try to like leave Ellie with his brother Tommy, and Ellie will like react intensely to that. And if the show wants that scene to be as heavy as it is in the video game, we have to see these two getting closer. But at this point, I do not think that they are that close. Also, in the video game, they were not so close at this point. However, compared to the TV show, they their relationship was a bit more intimate. But anyway, still have a lot of episodes in front of us for that to happen, and I am hopeful in that regard. I think this move of Ellie was kind of out of character, in my opinion. It was a stupid thing to do. Like, you are in an abandoned building, you see a hatch, there is not a ladder going down into that hatch. You gotta make a jump, which is irreversible normally because she's not that like long, tall. She wouldn't be able to get back up get back up through the hatch if there was not that bin on the ground. And I do not think that while she was making the jump, she was aware of that bin there. Like, okay, and it's safe. I will be able to get out of this place, etc. And I mean, it's there are zombies everywhere. How do you know that the basement is safe. Like, and you do not let Joel know about what you're about to do. Anyway, I think that's out of character for Ellie, but of course that's my subjective opinion. To be honest, I do not like the portrayal of. I don't like the show's portrayal of Ellie, and that kind of scares me since the series is like she is like an anchor point for the series, and the second part of the show will be mostly based on her. I have my doubts. In this basement, she sees a kind of runner clicker hybrid. Most like I think this one is a runner, but anyway, she acts like a psychopath. Like that guy is already trapped there. The he has like no capacity to move, do anything, etc. But somehow she goes experimental with it. I mean, since she lost her lover to a bite of one of these infected, I can understand that like she is frustrated with these beings, etc. And but I do not think that the Ellie individual like for me, characters are canonical. Plot may change, events may change. Of course, in like characters may be altered a little bit, but this is far too dramatic an alteration. And they're portraying Ellie as a psychopath. I think this is made maybe in order to like soften their way towards part two, to like portray an Ellie who was already a monster. But um, I do not think that it's uh, like the right way to go. Spoilers about the second game. I think that it was important to see the change in Ellie's behavior after Joel's death. Normally, um, Ellie is not like that much of a survivalist. She wanted like she feels as if she is the one to blame for Tess's death or her lover's death. Lover, what the fuck is lover? Her lover's death, and she wants to sacrifice herself for others. She wants her life to mean something. But I then when Joel dies, she like goes she, the shit hits the fan. I think then things change. She turns into a kind like ruthless person. However, the Ellie in the TV show is already kind of um, like I don't know. She's too raw, I think, and I don't feel like she would be she would not. She doesn't seem like the type who would sacrifice themselves for the world. That's that's my interpretation of the sport rail. So if they seem to like I she will this type of rawness will be consistent in the first season of the show. It's obvious, and I think that it will lessen the meaning of the decision Joel makes in the end. But we will see about that. Like, I mean, look at her. Again, some world building here. I think that it was very stupid of Fedra to take such a precaution. However, it doesn't strike me as unrealistic, because in times of such crisis, people go nuts, just do stupid things. Then we make an allusion to the beginning of this apocalypse, and the main part of the show starts. I mean, for this part, I am mostly satisfied, and I think that like this is so far this was the best episode of the show. However, I feel like the relationship of Bill and Frank was a little bit rushed. I mean, Bill is a survivalist guy. Like, he's a lone wolf as far as we have seen, and he like he doesn't trust people. However, um, by the way, I think this scene was a great one because when you look at it, you feel like something is missing in his life, and you can't help but wonder, like, uh, okay, you're surviving, but surviving what for? You can ask this question to yourself anytime. It doesn't have you do not have to be in an apocalypse. You're working, you're making money, you're doing something for your life to sustain your life, but you are doing that for what? What kind? You try to live a life, but what kind of a life is it that you are trying to live, that you are working for? Well, anyway, Frank falls into one of his traps. We get to meet Frank. He does not trust him at first. However, things escalate and they fall in love quite quickly. I mean, they had since Bill spent a lonely life for such a long time, and she meets someone, I wouldn't say like-minded, but someone nice for the first time. They like spent some time of intimacy and they fell in love. I know it was kind of rushed, but since the like episode has a time limit and it wouldn't be like a nice decision or good decision to divide this episode into two. I think that it's only fair that they rushed these parts a little bit, but on the whole, I think they did a really good job. Um, this is how they meet Joel and Tess. Bill is uneasy. A gun on the table. It was interesting to see Anna Torv like this. She looks much more younger. Anyway, a reference to the beginning part of the show, like 80s danger, etc. This scene was also quite important, I think. Uh, it makes the ending part of the episode meaningful. And it's quite understandable and relatable. As I said, in the beginning, Bill was surviving only for the sake of surviving, but after he meets Frank, her life takes another turn and it becomes more nuanced. Like now he survives for something else he has. And this is a great line. Like, I was never afraid before you showed up. Now I have something to lose. I think this scene is a little bit cheesy since what Frank does distracts Bill and he gets shot in the leg because of that. But if I interpret this scene correctly, he was already shot in the stomach. Anyway, I think this was also quite a powerful scene. In like, I felt emotional while watching this, and I would like I would be okay if they decided to kill Bill in the scene and change the original storyline in that regard. However, maybe the only problem I would have would be that death, the like them paving the way for his death in a cheesy way, like distracting him with Frank and causing him to get shot. I wouldn't like that, but if we were to see Bill die and Frank turn into a sour man. I like that. It would be interesting to see such a change in Frank's behavior. Anyway, like the small, the, I like these lines were powerful. I think he doesn't die. However, we have a kind of a twist. Frank got sick. He can't like even open a plastic bag on his own. The show is trying to illustrate that he is really having a hard time, just like doing daily things, living his daily life. Bill is taking care of him most of the time. Then he decides to like commit suicide, and I think that's also understandable and something emotionally strong. Like the watching these scenes um, aroused intense emotions within me. The whole sequence after this was quite powerful. I think the acting is just brilliant. Uh, like um, when you see Sarah die, I think this sequence was kind of like a counterpart of that. This is what I like about The Last of Us. I think the whole thing here feels so real and relatable. Yeah, I don't have much to say about like these scenes. They were just brilliant. An allusion to their first meal. Here I was like, Bill, dude, come on, like pour some to your glass of wine too. Like, I, I like if he were to go on with his life, that would strike me as out of character. I think the character development of Bill necessitates that he does not survive for just surviving anymore. Uh, like with that, I mean, as we have seen in that strawberry scene, now his life has another meaning, and he's surviving for what, like for this new thing he has, and it would not be logical for him to. I mean, I don't think that he would go on with this life, and that's what happens. He doesn't go on. There were pills already in the bottle. They commit suicide together. And I think these lines were also quite strong. I am old. I am satisfied. Like this is not a tragic ending for us. This letter was also quite a strong one. I think it was like it really felt like it was written by Bill. The joke here, it was brilliantly put there, and this like use my stuff to keep Tess safe. I think this these lines did hit me hard, and I can't imagine how harder they would hit Joel. And then in the next scene we see Joel's like having some alone time, experiencing these intense emotions. Anyway, I think this scene is also important because in the coming episodes, Ellie will save Joel's life with this gun. In the game, she acquires, she like that thing, like up until this part of the show, she wanted to have a gun many times, and she was refused many times. In the video game, something similar happens, but it wasn't this on the foreground. However, that a scene happens in which Joel is about to die, and Ellie grabs a gun from the floor and shoots the I guess shoots it was a human, I think, shoots the human, saves the Joel. then Joel allows him to use the gun. Anyway, I think a similar thing will happen in the show too. Joel's life will be in danger. Ellie will save him with this gun. Uh, well, yeah, this was it. I I I I really like this episode, and I would love to see such like the story we have watched in this show was complementary to Ellie and Joel's journey. And I would love that if the whole show was about such small stories, and if you were to watch a different short story in each episode. But that's not the case, and I do not think that we will have much episodes like this. The rest I think will be most maybe they may elaborate on Sam and his brother's relationship a bit, but I'm not sure about that. There is a lot to cover before the whole season ends. Anyway, the show is going great so far. Of course, it has its flaws, but I'm excited. I can't wait for the next episode. To be honest. Well, this that was it for this one, and see you in another video.